Alright, y'all, we're back with the 10th installment of the 3 for 30 series. If you're new to the series, all it really is an excuse for me to go ahead and give 3 topics on each and every NBA team that I am looking forward to heading into this off season. And on today's episode, our 10th episode, if I didn't already mention that, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, to be honest, I'm still hesitant as to whether to call this past Pelican season a success or not, because I just feel like for as many things that went right for for the team this season, an equal number of things went wrong for them. They finished the season at 30-42. They missed out on the playoffs by a few games. I know they were being heralded as a team preseason that had a lot of expectations put on them. They were expected to get into the postseason, albeit not be a high seed, but they were expected to get in. They probably would have made it in had Zion not dealt with as many injuries and missed games as he did. But either way, they came up a few games short. They had a lot of other issues come up, and I'll be getting into some of that stuff in this video. Before I begin, as always, drop your comments down below on what you think as this video goes on. Other than that, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thank you for watching. Now, starting with point number 1 on the board, I have the pending free agents for the New Orleans Pelicans. The 2 main guys I want to talk about are Brandon Ingram, who is a restricted free agent, and Derek Favors, who is an unrestricted free agent. Both these guys were starters for I think every game they played this season for the Pelicans, and although they were both crucial pieces to the team's success this past season, there are some still differing views on whether each guy should be kept or not. Again, I'll be getting into that as I go into each guy. With Brandon Ingram, he recently in this past season won the Most Improved Player award. He did that by having a breakout season where he averaged 24 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, all of that on very good shooting splits. And this was his first season being an all-star, and he did it at the ripe age of 23, so he's still yet to truly hit his prime. I know that in past years he's been described as a very raw offensive talent, and we finally saw some of this offensive talent forming into a complete player. Brandon Ingram definitely still has a ways to go on defense and just building up his body in general, as one of his draft day negatives was the fact that he is very skinny. He needs to put some muscle on, and that's still true to this day, although we have seen guys like Kevin Durant perform just fine. But either way, Brandon Ingram has come a long way, still has a ways to go, but we have to give props to him on a great season. Like I said, 23 years old, was a first-time All-Star. Great things ahead in this offseason. It's looking like he's going to get paid. Like I said, Brandon Ingram is a restricted free agent. What that means is that basically any offer he receives from any team not named the Pelicans will have the ability to match and keep him on the team. Now, I don't think that's going to be an issue necessarily, because the Pelicans, even if a team were to offer another contract, Pelicans would definitely match no matter what. And to go even farther than that, Pelicans, like I said, they won't have to deal with that. They're most likely just going to hit him with a supermax. Brandon Ingram's earned it. He's looking like he's going to be a true cornerstone of this franchise for many years to come. He started out in LA and things didn't quite work out. He had the whole blood clots injury scare where we weren't quite sure whether he was going to come back and be the same player, much like what happened to Chris Bosh in years past. But after this past season, there seems to be no worries about his health, nothing to even give a slight worry to, and the Pelicans are ready to open up the paychecks and give Brandon Ingram what he deserves after such an amazing season. And the best part for the Pelicans in giving Brandon Ingram this big supermax is that they'll still have plenty of money left over to go after another great player who is worth in the tens of millions of dollars. Such a guy like current Pelican Derek Favors, who this offseason is going to be an unrestricted free agent after coming over to the Pelicans from the Jazz in a trade. Now, Favors, who is 28, doesn't necessarily wow in the stat book, but he does a lot of the things that a typical NBA glue guy does. He does a lot on defense, keeping the defense together, and on offense, he's good at moving the ball, setting screens, getting other guys opportunities, and he does it all at a very efficient rate. The Pelicans have even stated already that they would love to have Favors back on the team, whether it be a long-term or short-term deal. They envision him to continue in his glue guy role, both on offense and defense. They also would like to keep him around to mentor this past season's rookie draft selection, Jackson Hayes, who is a center who's shown some great promise and looks to be an up-and-coming starter. So obviously the Pelicans would like to have a good player like Favors mentor the young guy and get him to a state where he can be a usable starter. Now, the only issue is that Favors, before coming to the Pelicans, spent every single year of his career with the team that drafted him, the Utah Jazz. And much like with the Pelicans, Favors' role in the Jazz was the glue guy role. He was a great defensive player. He helped out on offense. He did a lot of the little things, and the Jazz loved him for that. And as of now, the Pelicans and Jazz seem to be the two front runners to sign Favors in this upcoming offseason. So it seems like it's going to just come down to whoever Favors prefers. Some might even say who Favors favors in this upcoming offseason. I'm so sorry for that one, but I had to. But anyway, to focus on the Pels side of things, if the Pelicans do keep him, like I said, he'll be a great mentor to the young guys on the team. He'll be a trusted veteran who makes winning plays. If the Pelicans lose him, it's going to be a big hit to their defense, especially having to play guys like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, guys who aren't necessarily defensively minded at this point in their careers. We could be looking at the same old Pelicans who were great on offense but not so great on defense if they do, in fact, not keep Favors. And now getting into point number 2 on the board, I want to talk about the Pelicans' backcourt. Starting with Lonzo Ball, who had himself a fine season. He averaged 12 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 6 rebounds per game on some pretty poor shooting splits, but we can look beyond that. Obviously, Lonzo Ball has not been the second overall pick that he was projected to be, but yet he's still a very starting caliber worthy point guard who definitely deserves a spot in today's NBA. But as of now, we did see that Lonzo had some issues in the bubble. His team was saying that he looked checked out at times when performing in the bubble, and now that Lonzo is on the last year of his rookie deal, we could see the Pelicans maybe start to look other ways. To me personally, I think the Pelicans should definitely look to keep Lonzo Ball, even though he hasn't necessarily hit the potential that we were all told he has. He's still definitely a perfect fit for this team. He's a great defensive player, great assist man, if anything else. But again, just setting up the guys like the Brandon Ingrams and the Zion Williamsons, it's going to make their job so much easier, both on the defensive end and the offensive end, like I said, with Ball's playmaking abilities. I mean, I know we saw countless times of him hooking up with Zion on half court and even farther lobs, and they're fun to watch. I bet they're fun to execute, the two of them. And all in all, I think Ball is a great fit for the team. Now, the reason I feel like we haven't heard many trade rumors involving Lonzo is in part due to his backcourt companion, Jrue Holiday, who has been the talks of many trade rumors around the Pelicans. To get deeper into Jrue Holiday, in this most recent season, he averaged 19 points per game, almost 7 assists per game, and 5 rebounds per game, along with 1.5 steals per game on some good shooting splits. And he has 2 more years left on his contract, with that second year being a player option. And like I already mentioned, Jrue Holiday has been the talks of many trade rumors for the Pelicans, and it's understandable because his contract is quite a lot, and with the way that the current Pelicans team is shaping up, it's looking like he's going to be he's already been the veteran of the team, but it's looking like they're going to move on from him at some point to focus on this younger core of Ingram, Ball, and Zion, and it only makes sense to get some value out of Jrue Holiday and to not just let him walk in free agency. And so because of that, I came up with 3 trade situations that I think would be perfectly ideal for both the Pelicans and whichever team they trade with. So starting with the Brooklyn Nets, I decided to trade away Spencer Dinwiddie, Taurean Prince, and the 2021 first round pick of the Nets. Now, why I think this deal makes sense, the Nets get back two relatively young players. They're still in their mid-20s and have plenty of years ahead of them to produce for the team. They get back Spencer Dinwiddie, who can fill in that shooting guard spot that Jrue Holiday had been starting in, and they get Taurean Prince, who is just a solid 3-and-D wing who can give the Pelicans some good minutes and help bring some of that veteran presence that Jrue Holiday leaves behind. And again, why this works for the Nets. Nets get the third star they're looking for while also keeping Karis LeVert. So they now have like a four-headed monster of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. They keep Karis LeVert, and then they also add in Jrue Holiday, who can do it on both ends for them. Moving on to the Indiana Pacers, I see the Pelicans giving up both Jrue Holiday and Josh Hart as a little added bonus, and in return they get Jeremy Lamb, who can, much like Taurean Prince, is just a solid 3-and-D wing. They get Edmund Sumner, who can help fill in, be a backup point guard and play some 2-guard to fill in for Jrue Holiday's absence. And then they also get Miles Turner, who is only 24, still has his prime ahead of him, and can be that solid big who can also stretch the floor and give Zion the paint to work in. Miles Turner is also a great rim protector and defender in general, so that can help with some of their defensive issues, especially if they are to let Derek Favors go in the offseason. And then on top of all that, Pelicans also get a 2021 first-round pick just to add a little icing on the cake for them. And then final trade offer, and my personal favorite of the three, is with the Phoenix Suns, where the Pelicans give up Jrue Holiday in return for Ricky Rubio, who again can help fill some of that guard role that Jrue Holiday leaves behind. Pelicans also get Frank Kaminsky, who can just be a rotational center. Doesn't exactly quite help their defensive issue, but again, Kaminsky can just give some solid minutes here and there. They also get Cameron Johnson, who is a very young and very good-looking and high-potential 3-and-D wing who can shoot lights out and also plays very above-average defense. I think he'd be the real pickup of this trade. And then again, on top of all that, Pelicans would get a first-round pick on top. And then to move on to the third point on the board, we're just going to have a little chat about Zion Williamson and what to expect from him in this offseason and the upcoming season in general. Now, although he did miss a lot of time, the Pelicans were truly a dangerous team once Zion returned to the court and wasn't being limited by their very stupid at times minute limits. Zion averaged 22.5 points and 6 rebounds on some pretty solid shooting splits, most importantly noting the 43% from 3. I know that he had some outlier games and wasn't necessarily shooting it at a high volume, but I mean, it's only a great sign for the future, as if Zion can hit at a good rate this early on, you can only imagine what he's going to do down the line. And to go into how the Pelicans split up with their no Zion games and their Zion games, without Zion, they had a 19-29 record, and then with Zion, they had an 11-13 record. And that's also including, you have to keep in mind, those few games where NBA Twitter got on the Pelicans' butts for not playing Zion in the fourth quarter and letting games slip away right before them. Now, obviously, with Zion missing so much time with a knee injury, there were some, there was a right to keep him out of some games and to keep him healthy for the rest of the season, just to make sure to not ruin his future or re-aggravate any injuries, because Zion has had a decent history with lower leg injuries, whether it be his foot, ankle, or knee. A lot of stuff that could be worrisome for such an explosive athlete like Zion. But I'm hoping that this offseason it will all be worth it. Hopefully he doesn't have to spend too much time rehabbing, and hopefully he can get on the court and do some drills, get some activity in, because like I said, this Pelicans team truly looks like they found another cornerstone franchise type player in Zion Williamson. And as I've said throughout the video, matching him with Brandon Ingram, with Lonzo Ball, with whoever they get from a potential Jrue Holiday trade, all of it's looking like it could produce not only wins but championships down the line. I mean, it really doesn't take a amazing scout to watch some Zion film and just see that he is such a unique offensive player with his ability to leap so quickly and often, and his touch around the rim is just truly amazing. And even when he misses or fires it too hard off the backboard, he just springs right back up and gets his own rebound and then eventually puts it in at some point. And while all of that is great, and the dunks and the amazing highlight plays, that's all great, but obviously Zion still has some issues on the defensive end that need to be pointed out. Again, it's important to keep in mind that he did only play 24 games in his rookie season, and again, like the NBA is just it's a highly talented league with a lot of very good basketball players in it. So obviously it's going to have a learning curve that comes with it. Zion, although he does make some great plays on defense, we've seen some amazing closeouts and some amazing blocks where he sends the ball 20 rows deep, but there's still some concerns with just his defensive IQ and positioning. There's a lot of times where he gets cut backdoor on or just simply does not know where to be. And if you really look closely at a lot of these Pelicans games that he played in and you focus on Zion on defense, it's not too hard to tell when buckets get scored on the Pelicans as a result of Zion either just losing his man or, like I said, just not knowing where to be. So all of this will definitely be important to watch for starting next season. Again, hopefully Zion doesn't have to spend too much time rehabbing and can get on the court and watch some film and start to understand how NBA defenses work. I know Alvin Gentry, being a very offensively minded coach, did not really help with that much at all. So it'll be interesting to see who the Pelicans end up going with for their head coaching vacancy that they currently have. I really hope, for Zion's sake, that it's someone who can, help him progress defensively, because if Zion can continue on this amazing path he's on, not only will there be championships, there'll be MVPs, DPOYs, All-Star selections, Finals MVPs, all that good stuff. All of this stuff can be accomplished. It's just a matter of the Pelicans not messing up too bad and keeping Zion both healthy and happy, and hoping that he wants to be a Pelicans lifer, because that's all Pelicans fans can really hope for at this point, to get hopefully 20 years of Zion Williamson on their team. And with that, that will be all for the New Orleans Pelicans 3 for 30. As always, drop your comments down below with what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. Other than that, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff, but most importantly, thank you for watching.